Hey, what's up guys? I am Missy Renee, and on this channel we talk about manifesting. We talk about everything that has to do with manifesting, how to do it, how to properly apply it, so that you can manifest anything that you desire and live the life that you have always dreamed of. So if manifestation and conscious creation are things that you are interested in learning more about, definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon, because I come out with new videos every week that go over different topics, all pertaining to creating the life that you have always imagined and always dreamed of. And in today's video, we're going to talk about letting go or dropping your desire. Because this is a topic that I would say is probably the most confusing and the most misleading for a lot of people who are new to manifesting. This is something that gets brought up all the time, and it is certainly something that I struggled with when I was trying to figure all of this out. So if you're somebody that is struggling with detachment or letting go of your desire, or any of the aspects that have to do with dropping it, then definitely stick around to the end of this video, because I'm going to break down exactly what this means, what this letting go or detaching actually means, and also some things that you can do that will help you to successfully get over this hurdle and manifest your desires much quicker. And just a quick announcement before we get started, I'm launching my Manifest a Specific Person workshop next month, Saturday, November 14th. It is a 2.5-hour course that goes into everything that you need to know in order to successfully manifest that special someone in your life. So if this is something that you are trying to do, I would absolutely recommend signing up for this class. For a limited time, I will have a 50% off coupon down in the description box. So take advantage, sign up. You do not want to miss this course. So diving right in, what does it mean when people talk about dropping the desire or letting go? There's a lot of ambiguity around this subject, and there's actually quite a bit of contradiction, or what looks like contradiction. So I'm going to do my best to try to break this down in the clearest and most simple way that I can. Now, I've already made a video about detachment. If you want to check that video out to kind of get some pretext, I will link that video up here and also down in the description box below. And I'd recommend checking that one out and then coming back to this one if you have not seen it yet. But in this video, I'm just going to go a little bit further and try to give a little bit more breadth into this topic, because again, this has to be one of the most difficult hurdles for people who are new, if not the most difficult hurdle, is this whole notion of having to drop your desire. So what exactly does this mean? Well, first off, let's talk about what it doesn't mean. Dropping your desire does not mean that you have to just forget about your desire. It does not mean that you have to just not think about it anymore and that you have to scrub it from your mind entirely. Because let's face it, that would be damn near impossible to do, especially for things that we hold an attachment to. And this especially pertains to people who are trying to manifest a specific person. When you have that emotional attachment to somebody or something, if it's money or what have you, it's not going to be super easy for us to just forget about it. So that's not what we're talking about here. You don't have to forget about your desire. And I've had some clients freak out about this and tell me, "Oh my God, Missy, I couldn't stop thinking about my desire yesterday. Did I just screw this up entirely? Shit, what do I do?" No, you didn't screw anything up, and that's not what we're talking about here. And I know that there may be some teachers and coaches and gurus who make it sound like that's what you have to do. They give off the perception that you have to completely erase that person from your memory bank. No, not at all. When we talk about dropping the desire, we're not talking about dropping the desired thing. We're talking about dropping the feeling of desire. Now, what does that mean? Let me break it down and explain. When you desire something, that is the first step in the manifestation process. You have to have a desire in order to manifest it, in order to actually create it in your life. But what happens is we don't ever get past that desire stage, or we don't get past that stage of noticing the lack of that thing in our life. Because when you desire something, you're essentially saying that you don't have it or that you are lacking it, right? Because you can't desire something that you already have. You can't desire something that is already yours. This feeling of desire is basically a statement that says, I want this thing, I would like to have this thing, I don't have it, but I would like to have it. So we have to, when we consciously create or when we manifest, we have to drop that notion or that desired feeling in order to successfully manifest it into our lives. You can still think about this thing, you can still have it come up in your mind, absolutely. That's not going to be what does it for you. But if you don't get past that state of lack, if you don't get past that stage of where the hell is it, I don't see it, I want it, but it's not here, then that is unfortunately going to be the roadblock for you. So letting go or dropping the desire is letting go of the feeling of lack. It's letting go of the feeling like you don't have it. It's letting go of searching for it. It's letting go of acknowledging or reacting to that thing missing in your life. See, because once we are in the state of the wish fulfilled, once we put ourselves in the end, once we have imagined that end scenario where we already have that desire, it's already done. It's already done. There's no work left to do. So we don't need to drop the desire so much as we need to drop the state of lack, or drop the notion that we don't have it, that it's not ours, and that we're still longing for it. And that's also what Neville meant when he was talking about detachment. When Neville spoke about detachment, he wasn't telling people to detach themselves from the thing that they want. He was telling them to detach themselves from the state of not having it, or that state where you're constantly observing the lack, because you manifest whatever you perceive to be true or whatever you believe to be true. So if you are constantly looking around you and noticing that you don't have your desire and you're reacting to that notion of lack, you're impressing onto the subconscious not having your desire. And so you will keep manifesting more and more of not having the thing that you want. So we don't want to do that. Instead, we want to get ourselves into the habit of feeling the natural feeling of having that thing in our lives. So we want to instead impress onto the subconscious mind the feeling of having our desire or having the thing that we want. So how exactly do we do this? How exactly do we drop our desire? What's the accurate steps that we need to take here in order for this to take effect? In order for us to manifest what we desire to have? What are the steps that we need to take to ensure that we can manifest whatever it is that we want? Well, this is where your imagination comes in. This is where the power of your imagination plays a huge role, a massive role. Because when we use our imagination, when going into that state akin to sleep, we are successfully impressing our desire onto the subconscious mind by creating a scene that implies that we have our desired outcome, that we are living in the end. When we take that scene in imagination while in the state akin to sleep and we loop it, that is how we go about impressing the subconscious mind. And for those of you who have been watching my channel, for those of you who watch my videos, you know that once impressed onto the subconscious mind, it has to materialize in our 3D world. And this is by and far the best technique I could possibly recommend to anybody. I use imagination in the state akin to sleep all the time. I use this all the time because it truly does get me to my desired end, better than any other technique I've ever tried. I want to encourage you guys, if you're not yet implementing imagination in the state akin to sleep, get yourself into the habit of doing so. The power here with using your imagination in this state, in this window, borderline consciousness, when you have the best chances of impressing the subconscious mind, is that you're going to be able to naturally get that feeling of the wish fulfilled. And feeling really is the secret, you guys. I cannot stress this enough. Feeling is the secret. So you got to remember, when you're going into SATs or imagining in the state akin to sleep, you have to keep in mind that we're not doing this to make something happen, which is a common misconception I've noticed in the manifesting community. You're not going into SATs because you're trying to make a thing appear or trying to manifest something. You're going into SATs to invoke the feeling of already having your desire, because that feeling is what you want to carry with you. Once you have imagined it and it has been impressed onto the subconscious, it's done. It's a done deal. You have no work left to do. It will come to pass. Because remember, the hardest challenge in all of this is we've all grown accustomed our whole lives to running on autopilot and reacting to our outside circumstances. And the problem here is when we do this, we are constantly acknowledging that lack of our desire or not having the thing that we want. When we use our imagination in the state akin to sleep and getting that feeling, that desired feeling, bit by bit, you will slowly find that you won't be reacting to that outside circumstance. You won't be noticing any lack because you've already felt it in imagination. And once you have felt it in imagination, it is already done. So the beauty here is that you stop reacting to negative circumstances or anything that tries to tell you otherwise, that tells you that you don't have your desired outcome. You will find that more and more, you just have to go back to that feeling of the wish fulfilled. Without using your imagination, just trying to do this during the day can be really challenging, because if we don't know what something feels like, then it's kind of hard to put ourselves in that state and move into that state without reverting back, without being triggered, without reacting to circumstances, without having naysaying inner conversations, without having our mind go all over the place. And that's the other thing that's great about SATs, is when you shut out the senses and you are focused on your end scene and you are focused on being in that desired place and that desired outcome, you're not multitasking. You are cutting out all of the noise in the 3D reality, because remember, this is all just a shadow anyways, none of this matters. But when you're able to shut off the senses and go into imagination and really get to that feeling until it feels so natural, until it feels so real, you will find that during your waking hours, while you are waiting for that manifestation to appear, you're not going to be having those obsessive thoughts anymore. You're not going to be wondering where the hell this thing is. You're not going to be reacting to those circumstances that tell you otherwise. You're going to find that you'll naturally start to feel like it's actually done, because it is already done. By implementing SATs or imagining in the state akin to sleep, you're also building that faith. You're building that muscle of persistence that's going to make it so anything that comes along in your day-to-day that is not what you desire or opposite of what you desire, you're already to be able to say, you know what, no, that's not true. I've already felt in my imagination my desired outcome. It's already mine. It's already a done deal. It's already in the bag. I don't have to stress about it. Whatever that thing is over there can go piss up a rope, because it is already done. By using your imagination and invoking that feeling, that will guide you through your waking hours. And if anything shows up that is just remnants of the old self, of the past self, of the old man, as Neville called it, you're going to be able to say, no, that's not true. I already know that it's done. I have felt it so real in imagination. There is nothing that could be said or done that can deter me from knowing that this is going to happen. End of story. So if anytime you do have those negative thoughts, or you notice that you're reacting to outside circumstances, anytime that something comes up that you don't want, try to think back to that imaginal scene as a memory. Try to look back on it fondly as a memory. And this is powerful. This is what I did that got me to my end result. And it's been working for years. I've manifested countless things by doing this. Once you have imagined and once you have impressed your desired scene into your subconscious, you can go back to that in your day-to-day. If there is anything that tries to shake your foundation, or anything that tries to tell you that your desire is not here, you don't have it, just go back and remember that feeling that you felt in imagination, and feel it as if it were a memory. Feel as if it was something that already happened. I'm telling you guys, if you have not yet put this to the test, this is so easy to do. It does take some persistence at first. It really is just getting yourself in the habit of doing this. As humans, we don't like change. We don't like to go outside of our habit zone. So implementing these steps and these teachings, I would argue, is probably the hardest first step. But once you do use your imagination, once you are consistently every night before you go to bed imagining your desired end until you naturally want to drop it, it really does become second nature. That forms a new habit, one of consciously creating the life that you desire. So I wanted to expand on this. I wanted to make sure that you guys have the best understanding possible when it comes to letting go or dropping your desire. You don't have to try to force it. There's nothing to force here. You don't have to try to forget about it or not think about it or whatever. That struggle is only going to create more of the same, because by trying not to think about it, you're still trying. You're still trying to force something to happen. It doesn't have to be that way. Go into your imagination, create that scene, loop that scene until it feels so vividly real, and persist in doing this every night until you naturally have the desire to drop it. Once this happens, you're going to find that anything that comes up in your day-to-day that is not what you desire, or is showing you the lack of your desire, or showing you the opposite of what you want, you're not even going to pay any attention to it. You're not going to pay any mind to it, because you will feel it is already done. And that feeling truly is the secret. So put it to the test. Do this for anything that you desire to have. And in fact, you can manifest the ability to naturally drop it. You can create a scene where you're having a conversation with a friend and you're telling them about how you manifest effortlessly and that you detach and drop anything that you don't want so easily. Use that. Use that as a scene. Again, our imagination is limitless and we can do anything. Remember, you're not trying to drop the desire. You're trying to drop the feeling of desire. That feeling that you don't have it. That feeling that you are lacking it. Once you are able to successfully imagine that end result, it just becomes so natural. Any sort of feeling of force or effort or having to try to drop anything, that goes away. That will effortlessly and naturally just fade away. So I hope you put these to the test, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you are interested in checking out any of my other resources, I will go ahead and link my coaching site, my blog, and my social links down in the description box below. So definitely check those out. And don't forget to check out these videos over here. Each video is a different topic, but all centralized around how to manifest your desires in the most easy and effortless way possible. So until next time, you guys, as always, take care, love you all, and never forget how powerful you truly are at manifesting.